Do. Welcome to Dwayne's Corner. Hi guys, this is a new segment called Dwayne's Corner.
We need to like it so we can know it's Dwayne's Corner versus your video. We'll just like that. There we go.
Here in Dwayne's Corner, we dive a little bit deeper. And today, what did you want to talk about on your drive?
Oh, yeah. Not to sound morbid or anything, but you know, since I drive for work, I have a lot of time on my hands, and you know, music fills the air. The rumble of my '05 Mitsubishi Eclipse Flex.
Oh my god.
You know, you hear it going. You know, it's not a quiet car. It's not a Prius. You know, and I feel like, low-key, I feel like this is not part of the story I'm getting ready to tell, but this is like a little extra excerpt.
This is all tangents.
It's all nothing but a tangent story. But I low-key feel like a lot of these newer cars that the cabin is so quiet, it leaves people to their thoughts, but only on the shallow part of their thoughts. Because I feel like when my car is driving and it's loud, like, you have to really, really dig past that noise to, like, reach a point of, like, pure insight. Because I feel like when I was in Alonzo's car, that car was quiet, you know? And...
shout out to Alonzo if you're listening to this.
Woo, woo, woo. Anyway, when I was in his car, it's quiet. The wheel, when you turn it, it's ultra smooth. The shifting is non-tactile. Like, you don't feel the shift into gear, you know? You don't feel your car jostle into gear, you know? And I feel like with it being so smooth and quiet, you don't reach too deep into your thoughts when you're driving. You know, you don't reach too deep in your thoughts when you're there. But in my car, there are times where I'm driving and my body goes on straight autopilot. And I know this has freaked you out a couple times because I told you about it before, but it goes on straight autopilot to where it feels like my body is driving the car on the road without my mind actually doing it for me.
Yeah.
So there'll be times where I'm driving and I look over into a field, and then when I look back at the road, I was just like, wait a minute. How long was I staring at that field while I was driving?
There's a lot of times I get home and I'm like, how did I get home?
Exactly. But then at that point, I'm just like, wait a minute. So was I just driving on the road, doing the swerves and corners on the road without actually knowing it? Was I self-driving my car while using my own body but not knowing about it?
Probably.
You know?
It becomes muscle memory.
It does. It does. But the crazy part is, seeing my job takes me to a lot of places where I don't go often. It's weird that I get muscle memory in places where I've never been, you know? And the only time I really don't feel that way is when I'm on like a dirt road, you know, whatever. But that was just a little tangent about thinking in your car. But multiple times when I'm driving, whether I'm having a good day, a bad day, a fun day, no matter what day I'm having, sometimes when I'm taking a corner or I'm hitting like 100, I think to myself, like, people always wonder, what do you feel after death? You know? Because, you know, at any time while I'm driving, a car could just turn right into me and hit the car. Yeah. And then that's when I think to myself, am I going to feel myself crash into the car? Am I going to be conscious the entire time during the accident? If I take a corner on a wet road and my car spins out and flips, am I going to be conscious the entire way through? Or...
Did you feel this recently? Because I felt this recently.
Yeah, no, recently I felt this.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I'm just like, you know, at any point in time, people always say suicide is bad. Suicide is bad. You murder yourself. You're going to go to hell. That's a sin. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, you know what? Back in the day when people didn't live in large cities, they had their own homestead, and they were dependent on their own wealth to make themselves happy and take care of their family, I bet suicide was a solid option for them, you know? Oh no, all my animals have caught diseases, my fruits, vegetables, and plants on the farm have all been decimated by some plague or some shit like that. My wife isn't going to be able to remarry because we already have a kid and no one's going to want her because she's quote unquote been defiled and she's no longer, fruitful for a new man or whatever, she's gonna be widowed for the rest of her life, and the only thing she'll be able to do is be a whore or some shit like that back then. Mm-hmm. So, thank you for the horn. So anyways, so someone's petty with this horn. I don't know what it is. But anyways, so I feel like back then, you literally could just walk yourself out into the forest and kill yourself. Your whole house would be still left there. Your farm would still be left there. Dead animals. Everything would just still be left there. No one's tearing it down. Your wife may even leave, or you may even go get extra crazy and murder your wife and child because you don't want them to suffer without you trying to be there to take care of them, which is very selfish of you because, they probably could have survived.
I'm concerned to where this tangent is going, guys.
Calm down.
Help me.
Whatever. But no, that probably was a solid option. I feel like only when people started depending on other people to pay for their things and things like that, the taxing system, the government, and everything all centralized, they depend on us to make them work. So therefore, they criminalize suicide, which is why I don't understand why, how, let's say you're 80, 90, let's say you hit 112, and you're just I don't understand why I won't die. I don't understand it. Mm-hmm. And you're my bones are creaking, I don't feel good half the time. I would like to peacefully pass, and I've seen TV shows where it's they have quote-unquote assisted suicide places where if you're of a certain age, if you're ready to depart the world, you can, since you're still moving around, you can get all your ducks in a row, you can go ahead and put the money for your funeral and everything, and you don't have to worry about your family being able to take care of that because, you went ahead and did it before that. You can even get the opportunity, knowing that you're going to go do this, you can get the opportunity to say goodbye to the people you love. Mm-hmm. Versus just one day, in your old age, people not visiting you, you passed away, and now people have to stop their lives and be we have to go to the funeral, and it's all a total freak out, Mm-hmm. I feel like they should allow that because it takes the stress of it off of your family, more or less. Especially if you understand you're ready to go.
But I feel like, I get what you're saying, mm-hmm. but I feel like at the same time, you need to always be prepared. No,
I get that. But that was a tangent off of just what I was thinking, because, when I'm driving, I'm just you know what? At any time, if I wanted to just try to end this, I could just, at 100 miles an hour, just grab it from the underside. Survive. That's the fucked up part. It's not guaranteed that I would go, but I would be really fucked up. I mm-hmm. could even be paralyzed and be well, that didn't turn out the way I wanted it or whatever. But at the deepest part of it, the only reason I think that is because, once you turn that wheel and you fuck up whatever your vehicle and you spinning out and you're crashing or whatever, at what point, if you do die in that, mm-hmm. do you stop feeling the world, because there'll be times where I think what if I crashed and I died right now? Would I still feel my heartbeat? Would I still feel the warmth of the sun? Would I just be in a perpetual darkness for the rest of my known being?
When I tell you, you just go back where you left off, because I've had 2 near-death experiences.
I've had none.
So I feel like the first time where I felt like I almost died, it felt like falling asleep. I didn't feel anything. I just felt like I closed my eyes and then I woke up on the street.
Right.
And the only reason I woke up on the street is because I guess I had fainted and this lady came and helped me out. And then the second time with my car crash, I literally had my life flash before my eyes. But I didn't feel anything, and I walked away from that accident. I didn't have my windshield was cracked, my whole inside of my car, it had flipped, the hood was down, and you would have thought at least a scratch, but there was literally
So
nothing on me.
So you had an accident just like my mom, where someone ran a red light and didn't T-bone her, but hit the front of her car, and they both spun out and everything. And when they saw her car, they were just like, I don't understand how you got out of that car with nothing wrong with you. She probably had some back issues because of it. But literally, they were like, the front of your car and your engine looked like they were pushing through your dash. Basically, it was that bad of an accident, but she got out of it with no scratch at all.
And I feel like your will to live, because I didn't fight for anything. I didn't feel like, oh, panicky. Right. I was just like, if this is how I die, this is how I die. And I feel like that's what I mean by being prepared. And it doesn't...
I feel like I'm always ready. That's why I feel like when I've had those thoughts, I don't be like, oh no, I need to call the suicide hotline and be on suicide watch. I don't need that shit. You know? This is just pure
If you are feeling thoughts of suicide while listening to this, he does not mean that.
I don't mean go kill yourself. You should call if you truly feel it.
Kill yourself. If you feel some type of way, what we're talking about is
pure mind thought experiment theory. Just not even that, introspective thought about what death would be like.
Because I feel like there are people that are curious, and how they say that it's not a bad life, it's a bad day. Mm-hmm. But some people have a lot of bad days.
You can have a bad day for a year straight.
Yeah.
And day 367 rolls around the very next year, and you'd be like, you know what? Fuck it. You know? Some people get like that. But I feel like, I don't know if it's just because of how I was raised, what type of person I am, or whatever, but my willpower to just continue on trumps the thought of, I want to know what death feels like, you know? Because death, come. That's to say, death is inevitable. Everyone is going to die. Unless someone snatches me up one day, puts me in a cryopod, and then puts me in a robotic body when that shit comes around. Right. And then I'll never find death unless I purposely go out and murder myself in a robotic body. But even then, if they had the ability to put me in one body, they have the ability to put me in another body. And I could be in a perpetual loop of dying and coming back. But as is now, death is inevitable. Everyone's going to die. I'm going to die. You're going to die. The tree, this building, the grass around us.
I feel like there's no rush.
There is no rush. That's why when I think about it, I'm just like, huh. Okay, well, I'll get there eventually.
And hopefully this helps someone thinking, I need to die right now, and just be like, don't worry. It'll happen.
Eventually. Literally just live your life. Go have some fun. What?